Our guest today is Jake Davis. He is much more than what his job entails, but he is an architect, but he is a ripper human. He is a DJ by trade.
Oh, barely.
He's a man that likes to have a lot of fun, and I think we're going to have a fair bit of fun today. Jake, you ready?
Hello, Herds.
I'm good, man. What's happening?
Not much. Thanks for the invitation.
Thanks for coming on. I was after a really bubbly personality, and I think that you're someone that gives the vibe, and you've always got a smile on your face. So I'm so keen to sit down and just pick through some nitty gritty with you. And it's not all going to be about work, but I hope that you've got a funny story or tip for me too.
There might be a few. I reckon we could probably dig some up. It's a good idea, man. The sitting down, having a chin wag with
It is.
a couple
It
of
is.
people.
I think it's really important for clients that know more about you as a person. I find us in the small pond of Geelong that we are not only business owners, but you're a person and you're a part of the community about the engagement about people around you. It can be a good and a bad thing that Geelong is so small.
Yeah, definitely.
Because if anything happens, everyone knows. But if good things happen within the business, everybody knows.
Yeah.
So I think it's a real positive takeaway from that. But even bigger is that you don't find, in my industry specifically, you don't find people shop around too much. They don't go to too many other places. I feel like our community is very much know, like, and trust brand.
Very much so, yeah. I've heard a lot on this recently. How Geelong is, like you said, such a small pond. And so much of the business down here is based on trust.
Yeah.
And it's not so much like your representation online or what you can Google. It's so much word of mouth.
Yeah.
Like there's so much of that. And if you're just an honest person with the way you operate in business and you can show that and you can vouch for that and your face becomes the name, then it's so beneficial.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
100%. You were telling me before that you had a bit of a coaching session or mentor session today. So can you tell us about what you've been learning and how you've been able to flow into your business from that?
Yeah. So I've been doing these sessions. The first two sessions that I'd done, they were business coaching. So it was myself and my girlfriend, Kate, like business mentoring, just some things to like consider or things to think about and boundaries to set at the start of a process.
What role does Kate play in your business?
So Kate is our creative director at Place of Space.
Shout out to Kate.
Shout out to Kate. She's amazing. She handles all graphic design, brand management. She's handling all the socials at the moment. She does such a great job. It's a time-consuming process.
So I'm probably quite lucky she's not here yelling at me for saying the wrong physio. Getting us pulled up in court about something that we shouldn't have said.
And she'd hit her up for some work. She's so good at it. Because, like, doing socials, it's so time consuming.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's our day and age.
Yep.
Like we do need a presence and you need to be relatable. But you also need to, not just about being relatable, but you need to showcase what you're about, especially in my industry, architecture. Like you need to be able to show your work, but there is a change in trend in social media of, it's not so much about it's just hero shot after hero shot after hero shot. It's about, we're trying to show that there's diversity in what we do and there's a lot of creativity and whatnot. So yeah, having Kate on board to handle all that, it's such a win. So we've been doing these, we've had two, like business mentoring sessions together, which have been incredible. And simple as things like setting boundaries amongst ourselves so that our relationship isn't impacted by...
How much do you cut off work when you get home? Working with your partner, I think I would really struggle with that. How do you get to a point when you get home and you're like, okay, we've had dinner, we got to shut out work and we've just got to be us?
Well, this is
happen.
Yeah. Well, the problem is we work from home,
right?
So we don't have any of that separation.
Okay.
Which is when I started Place of Space. Say it was about May that I launched it full time. I found it so difficult for the first time in my life, going from working in offices my whole life to working in a room that's 2 meters away from the kitchen.
Yeah.
I had no downtime. I had no drive to work or a commute to work to get my brain into gear. It was just walk into the next room.
So to give a bit of perspective around that, Jake worked in Melbourne and he used to travel minimum 3 hours a day.
Yeah,
minimum 3 hours a day.
3.5 a day.
So it was really a life-changing experience for him to be able to work from home sorry, I'm talking on behalf of you here,
Nah,
but
go for it.
for you to be able to work from home, if you are to work overtime, we've spoken over time that you said there were some days I couldn't get home till 10 o'clock at night because I would work till peak time, have to get on a peak hour traffic, and sometimes you can't get spots on trains, and it just gets hectic.
Yeah.
So now, if you want to work overtime, still home to dinner.
That's it.
You're probably cooking dinner at the same time.
Yeah, exactly. I'm prepping the veg while I'm clicking the mouse, getting it done. But yeah, you're right. Like it's all, it kind of goes hand in hand of, like I run my own business now.
Yeah.
Working the overtime is, well, it's required, but it's enjoyable. It's so much more enjoyable because it's for yourself. You're getting so much reward out of it. But you know, there's a line that needs to be drawn in that you don't constantly work. Like your home is now your office, and there needs to be some form of separation, or you go crazy.
Yeah.
Especially when, say, you have a massive week, and then you work through Saturday, and Sunday you go, I'm just gonna, do a couple things.
Yeah.
I'm gonna check my emails, and then the emails turns into I'm gonna clean my desk.
It's a snowball.
Big snowball. Monday comes around, you don't feel like you're rested, which a lot of small.
But you're
business
organised.
owners-
You are organised
Then
on Monday.
My desk looks sharp. Then you're on. But,
The biggest thing that I find working from home is when I procrastinate, I go and do housework. So if I feel like, because I work from home a lot of the time, if I feel like there is a task that's come up and I am not mentally prepared to be able to tackle it straight away, I feel like I need to go and accomplish something.
Yeah.
So
Right.
whether
So that
it's-
gets you going.
That gets me going. Okay, I've had my win. Time for me to have another win.
Yeah.
Sort of thing. Instead of being like looking at a task and going, oh, that's going to be difficult. I'm thinking through. I might procrastinate. I'm on my phone. I'm not doing anything. I feel like that's a pretty common trait these days of distraction that people can get caught in, is their procrastination is doing something that's not pointless, where you're not going to be able to have that win. They're looking for that serotonin boost in their brain from the social media. It's not coming. It's not being given. But I find what works for me and my ADHD is that I'll go and do something, or whether I'll vacuum, hang the clothes out, clothes in the wash, clean the house, make the bed, small win, come back. I'm ready to go.
So good. Yeah. So like how long of a break do you need to take when you're in a bit of a rut?
10, 15 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's enough to get you going.
Yeah.
That's good to know.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because I was going to ask you about how you
Dangerous.
go with procrastinating on a phone or a movie or a TV or PlayStation or anything like that. Because that sucks time and it is so addictive.
Yeah.
So addictive.
Mm-hmm.
It worries me how addictive it is actually.
Yeah, 100%. It is a big concern, especially working from home and not working for yourself, working from home, almost as dynamic as what each other are. Because even if you work for a company and you're working from home, no one's looking over your shoulder to making sure that you're working.
Yes. Yeah.
And that's where I think a lot of people fall into the trap of I don't like working from home because I won't get anything done. So I think it takes a certain person, and I think that the self-employed person probably suits a bit better because you have to be self-motivated to be able to do to be able to drive your own business.
For sure.
And you know that you want to be working constantly regardless. People sometimes become self-employed, so they think that I can work less, but now you're just working 24/7.
Yeah. Yeah.
At some capacity, you think about it, you're working, you're living through, you're having conversations with people, friends, family, or you're at the barbecue and you're talking about work. It becomes common ground and it just becomes part of who you are. And I'm not discrediting the journey that you've been on already, but you will feel coming up, if you haven't already, that is sometimes how people view you, is that you're just an architect or Jake the architect, which I think it's really important to still have a personality outside of that and say, hey, I'm a person. Yes, that's part of me and this is what I love doing, but here is all these other things that I love doing.
Yeah. That's a really good point
yeah,
because
yeah.
you can become so...
It takes over your life.
Yeah, because that's all you're doing. Like
Yeah.
you don't have any external stimulation or minimal if you don't go and get it.
Yeah.
If you don't have a hobby, if you don't have any, some form of activity you can do outside of your work, and you go to a party, how's your week? Let's talk about work. Like you don't have that separation, which I think now, and you too. You're young, bubbly young
I
man.
just had another birthday, man. I'm like, I'm not younger anymore.
Yeah. How old are you now?
Just ticked over 32.
32. You are crusty.
Oh, I overcrust you, man. I overcrust you, man. Birthday's my favourite day of the year without fail.
Really?
Without fail.
Yeah, that
But
trumps
it's-
Christmas?
Oh, Miles, tell
Well,
about me.
What about New Year's?
No, I feel like New Year's often falls on deaf ears, especially growing up where we are in Geelong, where we end up at the hill in Torquay or... It's just like New Year's can let you down very much more often than not.
Yeah.
As we got older, there were at festivals and whatnot, and it's always good fun. But it's very much I can feel it can be more of a letdown than a positive. Where I think if you set your birthday up really well, then you can just have a cruisy day. I believe in taking birthdays off.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah,
Nice. When was your birthday? What day did it fall on?
on a Monday.
On a Monday.
Yeah.
How good's a Monday off?
Yeah,
I wouldn't know. I'm a professional business.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. I didn't have the whole day off, but I had a good chunk of the day off.
Nice. What'd you do?
I went and did double session in the AM first thing in the morning.
Yes.
Me and my boy Tommy from 8 Count Boxing.
Yeah,
He's
boy.
always good for a laugh. Did 20 Ks on the assault bike, which really,
20?
Yeah, which was a good tear on the body.
Yuck.
I want to build it up. I want to find out. I'll try and do 50 at some stage. So.
Seriously? How many calories are you burning in a 20K ride?
It was a good 500 or 600, I think. It's on my watch. I would have to have a look.
That's disgusting. That's
Yeah, it was good.
that's a big effort.
Yeah, it is. It
That's
is.
a birthday vomit.
Yeah. It was good fun. I went out for lunch at the Heads with my folks, and sitting on the water is so serene, man.
Such a good
You've been
spot.
down there?
Not since have they renovated it? It's been finished? Did it look fresh in there?
It always looks fresh in there.
It does look fresh in there. But no, I haven't been for years.
Yeah,
What
worth
did it look-
going. Yeah, worth going. And then just had some fish and chips down in Torquay and watched a bit of a sunset. It was actually really nice.
Oh, that's wholesome.
Just a really peaceful day. And then watched one of my favourite movies later on as well.
Which was
I'm a big rom-com fan, believe it or
Yes.
not. Yeah,
That's-
so being a big rom-com fan and being a big Matthew McConaughey fan, all right. How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days.
nice.
Corker of a movie.
That's one of your all-time
Yeah,
faves.
I reckon it'd be probably number 3 or number 4.
Wow.
Yes.
What's a clear number one?
It's not a clear number 1. It's a fight for 1 and 2, but I reckon that maybe Ocean's 11 or Ocean's 13.
Ooh,
The Brad Pitt Clooney combination is
deadly.
yeah.
Dead.
And there's so much about that movie that just doesn't make sense. Like they talk in a different language, and it sort of throws me off. And I've seen them so many times. I'm like, is there like a hidden meaning behind that? Sometimes they're just talking like Morse code for absolutely no reason. They're just putting trickery on each other, and you're like, as a viewer, you're just trying to enjoy it. But no, somebody will pull me up and say that there is a deeper meaning to a lot of it, which I would love to find out
Nice.
a little bit more. Do you have a favourite movie?
Don't know. As a kid growing up, I pounded through the Harry Potter books,
Mm.
and I reckon the movie series is one of few movie series that
Alliance.
gets not perfectly, but gets close.
What's the biggest thing that pisses you off about the whole book to movie?
Ooh, for Harry Potter or just in general?
Harry Potter.
Well, I think it's just the depth of storyline in. Actually, this applies to any book to movie series. An author, like the role of an author, is to paint massive pictures,
Yeah.
and every author nails it.
Yeah.
Most authors, but there's so much information and storyline that you just can't pick up in a
You
movie.
can't. No.
For example, have you seen Dune?
I have not, but I'll put it on there. Benny's saying how good June is.
You like it? It's the best, right?
So good.
It's incredible. Have you read the book though?
No.
So that start of the movie when you watched Dune, were you completely lost as to what the fuck was going on?
It took me a good hour to be like, oh.
Because there's so many names, there's like worlds and planets that they're talking about, whatever, and you just don't get it. The book paints that picture, and it paints it perfectly. Like the level of depth that they're chunky books.
Yeah. Okay.
It's incredible.
See, I didn't even know it was a book.
Yeah. It apparently there's lots. I got told by a friend that the author of the Dune series, I think there's like 7 or something. You'll have to fact check me on that one. But the author was like smoking DMT while he was writing it, and just going into interplanetary galaxies in his mind just to get this complex story written. They're so deep. They're so
Have you
deep.
seen an interview with him at all?
No.
Okay. I would like for someone that has the creative spin to be able to obviously understand that taking the drugs is taking them to a place where they're being able to bring out the creative side is very interesting compared to people that have spoken about George Lucas and how weird he is.
Jar Jar Binks.
And probably not taking drugs in the Star Wars writing.
Yeah.
Probably speaks echoes about somebody.
Yeah. Oh, let's go.
So I want to know, the guy that wrote the Dune series, is he a normal guy that's just taking drugs over time? Or is he a fuddy-duddy?
I wonder what the limit of smoking DMT is before you turn into
I
a
reckon it's pretty
fuddy-duddy.
dangerous on the brain.
Probably.
The suction of the portal to the other world.
Yeah.
He is Dune.
Yeah, exactly. I love it. Love it. Did you end up going to Meredith this year?
I did not. One of my real happy places, though, I was lucky enough to go to Golden Plains this year.
This is the hot year. The last one was, last Golden Plains was cooking.
Yeah.
Is that the one
Yeah,
you're thinking
it was.
of?
Yeah.
So 40 plus degrees each day.
Can't say I remember it, but I think it cooked my brain.
Yeah.
I think it cooked my brain. But I love the Golden Plains. I love the supernatural amphitheatre. The SUP.
So
Being in the SUP is, if somebody hasn't been to the SUP of Meredith Music Festival or Golden Plains, heavily suggested. I feel like there's so many people that we know have gone. And it's just a really good atmosphere to spend time with friends, and people that haven't gone, I've so often copped to that. I know it's just not my type of music. It's not my scene, sort of thing.
heard that so many times.
You don't like spending time with friends,
Yeah.
sitting on a couch in the sun, having a few beers. Like,
It's the best.
I think that people get so, I don't know the music there, but I don't think that it's about the music.
For sure.
It's about the snags and the barbecue that the community put on.
Yeah, the Tucker tent. The Meredith Tucker tent. It's that
Have
good.
you worked at that?
Nah.
Yeah.
Nah.
The worst job that I did for a ticket there was in the accounting section.
As a volunteer.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
can I
3
go?
hours of counting 50 after 50 was torturous.
Wow.
Yeah.
Which day were you volunteering? Hopefully the first day.
Second, I think. It was tough.
So the damage had already been
Yeah,
a little bit
damage had
done.
been done. I didn't feel well.
Yeah.
You didn't go. You went somewhere recently.
Yeah, I didn't go to Meredith. It would have been the first Meredith we haven't gone to for a long time. Like, I feel like one of the first Golden Plains, the sister festival to Meredith. The first Golden Plains I went to was with you and all your mates, all the fellas.
Yeah, gee, that would have been a while ago.
That was ages ago. That would have been like,
10 years ago.
I was
Plus.
studying at TAFE at the time. So that would have been 2014. 10 years ago. Wow. Jesus. That's crazy.
Time capsule.
Yeah, so I reckon we would have done maybe not all, but majority of Meredith since.
Yep.
But this year, didn't do it.
Will you go to Golden Plains?
Haven't got a ticket. Not sure. We Kate and I are thinking of moving to Byron Bay. Maybe. We're not sure. There's a lot to work out there.
They're bubbling, they're flowing there.
We went up there because where I used to work in the city, they have an office up in Byron Bay.
Yep.
And yeah.
So talk me through that process. Is that a part of an expansion or long-term view for your business?
To grow.
As part of moving up there, what does that benefit, and what does that long-term look that you've been doing with Kate? What does that look like for you?
Well, we're just at a point of our lives where there's kind of got to be, if you're going to make a move, it's probably going to be soon.
It's early 30s before you probably have kids.
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's around that time. And we went up there, like last year, and I feel like everyone has a mixed opinion of Byron. I went into it with a negative opinion. I thought that
Why?
I just heard so many people say like, oh, it's this, it's that, there's yuppies everywhere or whatever. But it's just such a poor misconception.
I went up there recently and I found that I stayed there for 4 or 5 nights by myself.
What do you think?
I like it. I think if you sit in the right cafes and apply yourself in the right position, like we could talk about this, anything in life, if you put yourself in the right position, you're going to have good community engagement. And I found good community engagement there at a couple of different cafes where people were really welcoming. I'm not the shyest person in the world. So being able to sit down and someone then say, "Hey, what are you doing this weekend? Do you want to hang out with us?" is a very welcoming sort of thing to do.
Yeah, it's so nice.
Which is nice, which is really, really nice.
And I find that's pretty common up there.
Yeah.
Everyone that we chatted to that was a local or had been there for a long period of time, they were the most welcoming crew.
Yeah.
They were like, yeah, move up here. Like, it's beautiful.
Yeah.
And it's hard not to love it.
Yeah.
Like, it's so warm.
The weather is what captures you more than anything.
It's the weather.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, how good's waking up in the morning and going for a swim
Stunning.
and the water's like 26 degrees
Stunning.
or whatever it
Yeah.
is.
It's nice.
Gorgeous.
Main Beach in Byron's can get a little bit rough.
Mm. Yeah.
Running along the beach is quite nice.
Yeah.
I sound like a tough doing that, but
It's the best.
Yeah.
It's the best. And then
nice.
jumping in the ocean at the end.
yes.
Cool down.
Yeah. That's cool.
We were staying at Suffolk Park, which is like
Oh yeah, just
out
over.
the bottom.
Yeah, yeah.
And the I don't remember the beach name, but the beach that runs along that whole strip there is just banging.
I didn't make it over to Suppo, but I wish I did. But a lot of people that I know, if you live up there, the immediate Byron Bay itself is very expensive. So a lot of people live in Suppo.
Yeah.
Yeah, is that where you would look to move or
Yeah, but
set up
it's-
shop there too?
It's just expensive, man. It's so expensive.
Yeah.
The cost of rent up there is absurd.
Yeah.
Like there's little one like bedroom studio things
Yeah.
where your washing machine is next to the head of your bed.
Which is a general like, and I think that's what pisses people off that live up there or have lived there for a long period of time, is that it's taken the heart and soul out of Byron Bay.
yes.
And the people that still that live there, that work in the burger shops or the pubs or anything like that, they need somewhere to live,
Exactly.
and that's really really hard
Because
from
it's
Byron
been
Bay point of view.
heavily gentrified over the
Yeah.
years and
Oh, it's commercialized as now, like
very much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
just,
But it's
just as heavy as what say Torquay is.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
Except the trade off, like we said, is the weather.
yeah,
Because we have such beautiful beaches here.
Yeah.
They're so nice. But
Well,
they're
it's
so
easy.
unusable for like 9 months of the year, which is such a shame.
yeah,
Because, Geelong is beautiful. Like it's probably the heart of where you'll always come back to,
yeah.
which eventually would happen. But yeah, it'd be nice to experience something else for a little bit.
Do you feel like the hot weather would more heavily influence your work in a positive way as well,
I think it
creatively?
complements the way of your life. Like it's so easy to get up in the mornings. It's so much more easy to be healthy, to be active, which we both are.
Yeah,
That just amplifies that. That lifts that when you've got a greater state of mind up there. I think that
if you're happy, you're
reflects.
doing better. You're doing better work if you're happy.
for sure.
Yeah.
Definitely. Which is, yeah.
You're able to work on the road as well. Are you
That's-
able to maintain clients interstate, or do you have clients nationally at the moment?
No. So the way architecture works is you're registered per state.
Okay.
But there's been an introduction of a mutual recognition system, which is common across a lot of professions. You can get registered in other states, which is another reason. I was going to say this before. I put so much time and study and effort
Yeah.
to be able to have this qualification and
Yeah.
this registration. I'm at an age where I can take this to any other state, given that I do get registration, but that's just an application process. Why not live somewhere else?
Yeah,
Like, why not give it a go? Because you can work on the road, can't you?
Yeah. The giving it a go is a big piece. I would hate to look back on my life and think, what if? I think there's enough things in my life that I can look back and go, what if this happened, or what if that didn't happen? Where would I be? If you want to move, I think, what's the worst thing that's going to happen? You don't like it.
Exactly. And you come
Well,
home
yeah,
again.
you're going to come home.
Yeah.
But you'll always kick yourself. I've got my dad's best friend. When they were in their mid-20s, they had just had their first, and he tells me that we were thinking about moving to Queensland, and we didn't do it because we just started a business and we were caught in that in between. He goes, I always think about where would we be, what would we be doing if we had to move.
Like, what would be different? We'll never know the answer.
Yeah,
Yeah.
which is quite interesting.
Yeah. Yeah.
I feel like that's yeah. If he had done it, he might not have liked it, and then he'd be like, "Well, I've ticked it off."
That's it. And like, it'd be the same as you, I assume, because you can work on the road. You can.
Yeah.
You can work from anywhere. I've seen a few pictures lately of beachside doing a couple of hours on the laptop. Looks amazing.
I'm trying to be a good boy most of the time.
few beers in the photos.
That actually wasn't a soda and lime. It was a tequila soda lime.
Yeah,
Well hidden.
at 9 in the morning. No, yeah, I don't know where I was going to go with that, but yeah, it'd be nice to.
Be able to work up there. Do you find that your clientele would be better matched up there? Because I feel like architects are something that is viewed as a bougie. I'm trying to think of the word, but a privilege, a bougie privilege for somebody that can afford it.
Yeah, well, I was chatting to Ben before about this, and he said, "Oh, I can't afford an architect." There's a lot of misconception around architects. Traditionally, or what everyone thinks is super expensive, and I need heaps of money to build a super elaborate custom home. It's not really the case. Like, it's as big as you want it to be. You can engage an architect for a small project. Maybe
What's the smallest project that you've done?
just recently, it was my first job off the rank for my dad. It was a glorious tin shed. Like, it goes down to that scale, but in fairness, you don't need an architect for that. And you don't need an architect for every single job. Like, if you have a small idea of what you want and you're clear on that and you know how you want it to look, but you can go elsewhere. There's some amazing drafties around, especially in Geelong. Studied with a lot of drafties. That was my first qualification. They're fantastic. They're brilliant at what they do. But if you don't know what you want to do and you want some ideas and you want some really clever, thoughtful design put through your whole project, and you want that care given from the start of a project right through till the very end of handover from a builder, including that period where it's getting built and an architect can mitigate some of the problems and coordinate and collaborate, most importantly, with builders.
Something that I've heard about you, and I haven't worked with you personally, but something I've heard about you is that you are so thoughtful in the working process and so detailed that you even go down to the point of, I believe that windows are good in this point because light reflects off that wall there to then be able to shine light in this part of the room. It makes a really, a better atmosphere for a living environment. That's the sort of detail that you pride yourself on.
For sure. And that's maybe another difference between the education you get as a drafty compared to the education you get as an architect. So much more connection to the natural elements that impact our life. Like north light, it's so important in our climate.
Sitting in it right now.
Sitting in that beautiful north light.
It's a little bit blocked out at the summertime. But...
Well, it's summer, you've got a 600mm eave. It's blocking the sun path coming in. That's exactly what you want because you're not getting the heat gain into your building.
Yeah.
It's, a lot of people have to go down the route of building their first home as a volume home built home, and there is absolutely no issue with that for the sake that the cost of construction is so expensive.
Yeah.
Right? Like it's such a huge cost that, and some people don't really mind where they're living or the size of their home isn't important to them. But you have a look at some of the new developments out in some of the outer areas of Geelong, and they're placing these 3-bedroom homes on a 200 square metre block. There is no backyard.
No.
It doesn't matter what angle that site's on. The house looks the same. There's no consideration of north light. There's no flow. There's no care of construction. There's no quality.
Yep.
That's not really what I'm about as an architect. Like,
and that's fair because that's not that your passion would be best use of the space. If you were given 200 square block, your use of that space would be vastly different.
for sure.
But unfortunately, the person that's buying that 200 square block, that's not ideal for them. That's not what they want, but it's what they've got to work with. I think that's a big part of people are working with what they have, especially for the first house.
Exactly.
And so you would probably find people that come into you for the second or third house. Is that about right?
Yeah, it can be a whole range of things, man. It could be the final home that people want to settle down in, and that's it forever. Or it could be, like it could be an extension of properties. Alterations and additions is massive now because people might, our folks say they've bought in a beautiful area 30 years ago. And that area has just gotten better and better and better. There's so much vegetation. It's beautiful. They're homely. They're comfy. They know the area inside out. You don't just go find another block in an established area that's vacant. You can go find...
You're going to pay stamp duty to move them.
Exactly.
Cost you money.
That's where we need someone like you involved to help everyone out.
What? Stamp duty is expensive. If you can afford to do a renovation and get an architect to transform your house, I strongly encourage it. I'll refinance a home for you, but Jake will do all the drawings for you. I think that's a pretty good
good
summary of that. Yeah,
can
we're
be
a
a
good
good team,
team,
man.
We are a good team.
Yeah.
Outside of work, you've got a hobby.
I do. I'd say my favorite hobby would be probably just be DJing, man. We
Yeah.
touched on that earlier.
Yeah.
Definitely not I'm a pretty bum hobby DJ, but
You play some good venues, man.
a couple here and there, for all local. It's more of a hobby than anything else.
Okay.
It's such a good way to disconnect from your day to day.
Do you feel that potentially DJing when you're in that time and in that place, it would feel almost like a form of meditation for you because then you can't think of anything else but that one thing that while you're doing it,
Yes.
you're thinking about the next song, how's it working with the crowd, how are you feeling about it, what's your style of flow?
For sure.
Is that how you feel? Is that-
Definitely, definitely. Even like just playing at home. You know, I've built myself a beautiful turntable console. I spent so long on it.
Yeah.
There's so much money on it. But my setup is my setup designed for me. Even just the process of opening the lids up and getting everything turned on is meditation in itself.
Yeah.
But then it's up to you, and it's not just a relaxing, mindless activity. Your brain is on because it feels like you're using both sides of your brain.
Yeah. Yeah.
You're trying to coordinate everything. Timing is key. It's a well put together DJ set, which we've seen a few of, especially at Meredith and Plains. And I was at a festival last weekend instead of Meredith. Like,
Where was that? Tell me about that.
that was up in Heidi Gardens. Have you been?
I have not.
It's beautiful.
Is this something that happens on a regular basis? Because it looked like there was a few people there.
It's pretty small, actually. I mean, it was just some clever photography shots from their
Okay,
social
right,
media. But
right.
it was, first year running, Gateway Festival. I'd actually been hit up by one of the organisers to help design a stage
Cool.
for that festy.
Yeah.
They had some beautiful concepts done up by a graphic designer who I met on the weekend. He's a fantastic fella. But yeah, just first year running a festival,
Yeah.
the budget's pretty low
Yeah.
and time got in the way as well. So we didn't end up building the stage, but the talent that they booked, these little intimate bougie, not bougie, boutique Melbourne festivals that are popping up, they're everywhere. They're so good. The talent of music you get to see.
Yeah.
There's this guy from France, Sons or S.O.N.S. He's based out of Korea. Easily the best all vinyl set I've ever seen in my
Yeah,
life.
right.
Blew my mind.
Yeah,
I was
okay.
shaking
Did he
my
play
head with
recently,
disbelief.
did he?
He was on
right.
Saturday. It
I'll
was
see
sick,
a bit of
man.
tune.
Yeah, I'll send you some.
S.O.N.S.
Yeah. I'll flick you a link to something.
Yeah.
Talent
Yeah, cool.
and just on wax too.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah.
That's different too. I feel like, especially in this day and age, if you want to be seen, you have to do something different.
Yeah.
You have to do something different.
That's true.
Otherwise, I've seen Mr. Beast talk about, I'm not the biggest Mr. Beast fan in the world. I don't know if you know who he is. I don't know if any knows who he is. But Mr. Beast is one of the biggest social media people in the world. Super, super famous. He it just does different content, all sorts of different stuff, and to huge scales as well. He had a quote that I seen the other day was, if you're driving along on a highway and you see a paddock full of cows, you go, oh yeah, it's cows. You probably don't give them a second look. But if you're driving down that highway and you see a purple cow, you go, holy shit. I just see a purple cow.
No.
It's that double look. And that if you can get someone to give you a double look, and it's not just social media, but it's anything in life in this day and age, that's where you're going to be able to get ahead, and that's where you're going to be able to progress. So if you can find your own little niche about what can make you a difference, you got to find how you can be the purple cow in the field.
That's really interesting.
Yeah.
That's a good way to look at it.
Yeah.
What about you? What are your hobbies? What's your break up to your day to day?
Well, my break up to the day-to-day. The day-to-day is simply wake up, check emails, try to get some training in, some sort of movement.
Yeah.
I think that sort of really helps me a little bit. And then sort of grind throughout the day. And then it really is a interaction to whether I have appointments for that day or not. As a finance broker that is very self-sufficient, I get all my own leads and everything like that. Some days are busier than others, and that's just how it is.
Yeah.
Some weeks are 70-hour weeks, and some weeks are 30-hour weeks. And I think I've gotten to that point now where I can sit comfortable knowing that I have a client base, that there will be something that pops up. And I think I said this to you recently, is you're riding the ebbs and flow of business. And it doesn't matter what business that you're in, is that people often get disheartened when the business sort of stops at a certain stage and you become concerned about where the next paycheck is coming from. But once you become experienced enough to know that your business, to know that something else is going to come up, all of a sudden the phone starts ringing and you're kicking off again. So
I've got to give you a thank you for that. We caught up for a coffee not long ago, a couple of weeks ago, down in Highton there. And you said that exact thing, like of knowing when there's going to be peaks and troughs and ebbs and flows.
yeah,
And at that time we talked, work was slow at that point. And hearing you say, like, there will be ups was very, very relieving or rewarding. Like, I needed to hear that at that time, which was, it was great. And that kind of coupled with the business mentoring that I'd been getting. And I was told, like, if you've got integrity in what you do and you believe in what you do,
100%.
it will come.
Yeah,
It will come.
Yeah.
Like, things in our, economy, money's not flowing around.
There's a lot of outside influence that you don't quite often have control over.
Yeah.
Specifically in my industry, that this year has been slower for people buying investment properties to some degree, for the mum and dads, the mum and dad usual investors. And the refinance market has sort of dropped off the face of the world, because unless someone's on a really poor rate, the rates from the last couple of years are still pretty consistent with discounts that are on homes that are still there. So I think that a George Young quote, if you know who he is, he is, Johnny Depp played him in a movie about drug trafficking. But George Young was dealing with the Medellin cartel. With Pablo Escobar. And in his movie, he's got a quote of, and I'm very summarizing it here, but when you're up, it's never as good as it seems. And when you're low, you feel like you're never going to get up again. And I feel like that is very true in business. When you're flying and when you're high, you feel like, hey, how can I do better? How can I do better? You don't sit there and intend to enjoy it as much as what you should. And when you're low, it feels like you're never going to get back off the ground. And I think that understanding my business a little bit more, and like I've got a really good mentor in Adam. He's one of my best mates, and I've worked alongside him for a very, very long period. He sort of coached me through those first couple of years to sort of understand that when you're having low periods, just do everything that you can to then make sure that you're putting yourself in the best position possible for that next client, or expanding the business, that you're working on bringing in more clients somehow. And these are just details that may not pay off straight away, but they will definitely pay off later on.
They accumulate.
Yeah.
You've mentioned Adam.
Dawsey.
Would you say you said he's your mentor? Is that someone that you've modeled your business on, or you've bounced off a lot? Is that like someone you look up to in your industry?
Yeah, I definitely look up to him. He, I don't know whether he knows that or not, but I've definitely sought a lot of advice over him over the years, just about different situations. He's been in the game probably 4 or 5 years longer than me. So I've been in the industry for coming up, well, if not a decade now.
Yeah.
So there's different experiences that I've had to what he's had, and sometimes he calls me, and very, very few sort of circumstances that he picks my brain on something. It definitely comes up. But having someone to be able to lean on is very important. And if you've got questions about what you're doing to be able to go through those predicaments, is very, I find it key. But I'm quite fortunate that I've got a friend that's not only business driven, but it's also from that perspective too.
That's handy.
Yeah, it is.
Best
really
of both worlds, man.
Yes, it is.
know.
Jumping shit to the in-between, I want to pick your brain on, this almost might be a common question, Benny, I reckon. What's the worst date idea that you can think of or that you've come across?
Worst date idea?
You can throw Kate under the bus here.
Nah, Kate's a darling. She's
got nothing but good ideas.
She's got good ideas. Jeez, I don't know, man.
I know it's been a while since you've gone out and dated, but what's like that worst date that you like? I don't know how someone could do that.
God, there'd be some shockers out there, wouldn't there? Maybe taking someone down to the lime burners and torching a set of Dunlops or something like that. And then swinging
I
five
think
monkey
the
minutes.
girls in that particular area with those particular guys, they get in those cars and they know they're going for a cruise.
They're
They
going.
know what they get themselves into. Have you seen my BL Turbo, bruh?
They're probably into it. They're probably the
Yeah,
best
that's
night on the week.
probably the best date imaginable. There was plenty of girls that we knew growing up. We had similar circles growing up. That they would enjoy getting picked up in a car by a guy that was a few years older than them and just going for a cruise. They loved that stuff.
Oh, jeez.
I loved it. And on hard, I didn't date that many younger girls at that, when I was 18, 19. But
You did have
it
a
was pretty,
comment
I think that was pretty common ground where you'd pick up a girl and you'd go for a drive.
and do skits.
Yeah, maybe not skids.
You'd like to hope not.
I think so, yeah.
That would be unsafe.
A bit party somewhere quiet and dark sometimes was, and having a good make-out session with a view was actually not too far from here. We're on top of the hill.
Oh, the series of chat.
Make a point it's on top of Ceres Hill.
Oh, God. What do you got in worst dates?
Someone said to me recently that they went axe throwing, and I'm like, I couldn't imagine anything worse.
Why?
But I don't know. I just don't. I've been axe throwing before. I haven't done it as a date. I do enjoy a date where you can find out if someone's competitive spirit is flowing.
Oh, do you like competitive in someone?
Yeah, 100%.
So is axoing that? Does that bring competitiveness out of you?
I reckon I might be really shit at it. So like, I can't.
So you want to get better at it?
Interesting concept though.
Unreal.
What questions have you got for me? I know that you had some planned.
Touching back onto your work and what you do.
Yeah.
For us. Do you have like a mid to long term plan for where you want to be, or
Yeah.
what's the next 5 to 10 years, say max, look like?
I'm a big planner, and I like to think that I have somewhat of visual scape. I think this year has been very jumbled for me as a personal journey, to be able to find out more about myself and characteristics, about who I am. This being the first year that I've been single in over 10 years. So really understanding my own personality and character to be able to then go, okay, what do I want to do beyond this? I have always thought that expansion within the business was a big thing that I wanted to be able to do and grow a team. I don't really have man management skills to be able to, so that would be a big learning process for me. I would like to put somebody on at some stage, whether it be a loan writer or just general support to be able to process loans.
Yes.
I think that would be handy. In our industry, it's a big starting piece for that. Could possibly be a worker in the Philippines, like a virtual worker, or they have them in India, and they do a lot of admin and those sort of jobs.
Oh yeah.
Where you're paying someone a decent wage, but it's probably half the cost of what they are in Australia.
Right, and that's you're employing someone in that regard to just offload some of those more tedious tasks.
Yeah, correct. Yeah,
So you're still
a
the
lot of
face of the
mundane. Yeah,
business.
there are a lot of mundane tasks in what I do from day to day. And what it would allow me to do is then go do what I more enjoy about my work. Being able to chase face to face, being able to chase personal interaction, and just do the things that you love. And I think that's what the freedom sort of allows you by putting somebody on. But with coming that, then you have to have man management skills, and that's not something that I've ever really looked at before. Even when I worked at the bank, I was isolated in my role and then managed from above, sort of thing. So I had never picked up on being able to really go through things with somebody else.
Right.
But yeah, I think that just to further your question there as well is, where do I even see myself in the next 12 months? You said that you were thinking to move to Byron. I think a big part of me coming out of this year is really thinking about where I want to live. I've got a friend that wanted to move up to Melbourne, which I could still transform my business and be quite local. But the sunshine definitely calls from up north.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's such a big piece. That warm water and the sunshine. And when it's cold down here, it sucks and people are grumpy. And you can definitely pick up on that.
Yeah.
And it being warm up there, people are outside and people just love life. And like, I definitely pick up with that where that's put down is I'm jumping on that. And if that works, then I'm excited for it. But I think it's definitely a wait and see.
Yeah, you are a summer baby, I are.
Or I'm some.
I picture you flourishing in the heat. Yeah, that's very you.
quite tasty.
Would you go as far north as the tippity top of Australia?
Probably be just another annoying person that hangs around Burleigh Heads, I reckon.
Sick joint.
Yeah, between Coolangatta and North Burleigh is probably where it suits me.
Yeah, okay.
I've got some friends out there, sort of thing. I don't know whether that'll ever eventuate, but it may be one of those things that, I could look back and go, I wish I did this. But at the same time, if something pops up around here that is a really good opportunity, a life, love, and the in-between, then I probably will stick around. And so it'll be a little bit of interesting.
So everybody has different ideal situations of music and what they like to do and what they like to listen to.
I'm going to ask you some questions about situations, and I want you to give me a genre or even an artist that you love listening to in that particular time. Okay?
All right, let's go. Let's do it.
You ready for this?
Yeah, I think.
You're the DJ at a house party. What do you find?
Well, a house party, you need a constant rhythm going.
Okay.
You want a constant 4/4.
Yeah.
Up tempo. So yeah, anything pretty
Genre?
fun and bouncy. First thought, depends what type of crew you got at the house party. Maybe like tech house.
Tech house.
That'll
Cool.
keep everyone pretty
Yeah.
interested and bouncy.
Sitting around at a barbecue, and you've got control over the Yui Boom.
What time of day?
Arvo Sun.
Arvo. Well, I'm pretty methodical with my genres on my Spotify. I'd be putting on, if it's like 3 p.m. onwards, I'd
What's
put
the
it
name of the playlist?
Groove.
Groove.
Yeah.
What is groove consumed?
Just kind of not necessarily quick, kind of more slower.
Yeah.
Things that everyone's bobbing to without realizing you're bobbing to.
Cool.
Yeah.
Sing along in the car. What are you singing to?
Ooh, sing-alongs. It's hard to go past James Blunt, isn't it?
Ooh. What's your James Blunt song?
Those 3 wise men. What a plastic man. So good.
Family Christmas.
Family Christmas.
That's one that's coming up. You've got a playlist for it.
Hard to go past a little bit of the bubbly, isn't it?
Yeah, very good. Very good. Last and final one. Music while love making. What do you go to?
It's Skrillex.
Love it. Very good.
Yes! Oh my god! Oh, that's my answer to everything, man. Skrillex is a go-to.
JD, thanks for coming on the Hey Yo podcast, brother. Appreciate you.